We know that every day our team members fulfill our brand promise by caringly being at the side and on the side of our customers, team members, and community.
We want to care for you in the same way by making time for education, reflection, and renewal.
We hope you enjoy this installment of our Employee Wellness Series.
And remember, let's be careful out there.
Hi, everybody. My name is William O'Laughlin. I'm the Communications Coordinator of Optimate Life Services. You've probably seen a couple of my designs, the superhero campaign, the MASH shirt was another one. But I also just do some social media management and, gosh, I spin a lot of plates. I do communications is essentially my job. And today, I would be pleased to teach you how to make a coloring page out of a photograph. I've made similar things with the intro to the wellness videos. You'll see Susan, James Mays, Bill Dodds, Sherry Gill, all of them. I did this technique on them, and if you stop before coloring them like I did with them there, you can make a custom coloring page as an activity to do at events like graduation parties or even just a birthday party. And I will teach you how I do it today here. If you go to google.com and search for GIMP, that is a free picture editing software. You can also design stuff right on there. I've used GIMP for years. It's an open source program. It's very accessible, and I hope that this tutorial is thorough enough to teach you exactly what to do. So let's begin. So I have a picture right in here. You might recognize this guy in the red. That is me when I was in college. I had a lot longer hair back then. And atop me is my friend from college who enjoyed piggyback rides. So we're going to use this picture. So what we're going to do is first we're going to create a new layer. So a layer is like exactly how it sounds. It's basically, I'm going to put a transparent kind of film over this that I can draw without affecting this image right here. And starting out, you're going to run into this a lot. Make sure when you draw that you're on the accurate layer. Nothing is more frustrating than spending a lot of work and then to discover you did it all on the wrong layer, so you have to undo. Take my advice, just be very careful. So we're going to go to layer, and we're going to go to new layer, and just to keep things simple, I'm going to say line work, so I know that this is where I'm doing the line work. Now fill width, you could do white, background color, foreground color. Background color would be this white patch over here, foreground would be the front patch. We want transparency right now. And we're going to hit OK. And we're going to, again, make sure we're on the right layer. So in order to do this, we just have to follow a couple animation rules or illustration rules, whichever you want. So the exterior lines are always thicker than the interior lines. So let's say for this, I'm going to try out 5. I'm going to make sure it's black for color. And we're going to see how that looks. We're just going to try it out, see what it looks like compared to this. Yeah. Okay. This is 5. Okay, so 5 will do it. So we're going to just easy peasy draw around all these shapes. Now, the idea here is we're focused and we are relaxed and our mind is on our work. And that's why this is such a calming activity, because we're not thinking about work, we're not thinking about, daily stresses. Maybe you're going through a divorce, it's a shame. But right now we are here. We're here and we're family. Olive Garden. No sponsorship. But the idea is that we're focused and we're just making sure that we're touching on all these lines. So what we're going to do, just for ease of access here, I'm going to take this down here, and I'm going to hold with the paint tool, right? With the paint tool selected, I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to click down, and then I'm going to drag my mouse all the way to the other side, and I'm going to click again, and that makes a straight line, perfectly straight line, right? So that's just a little tip. Remember, keep that in the toolbox if you plan on working with GIMP in the future, which I highly recommend. Alright, now here we are. Okay, so now this, let me just confirm, let me do once over. Done. The exterior lines are done. Now here's what I do. You can mark it down. This is what I do. You don't have to do it now, but do pencil it in that this is a step that's going to happen here soon. I'm going to go to Layer, and now I'm going to have a layer that is filled with white. All right, and we're going to say this is called parchment. Okay. And what we're going to do, you can take your mouse, go over here, and then click and drag that. Now you're going to want to drag that down to like here. And this is just so you can get an idea of the shape that you're drawing. And what we're going to do while we work is we're going to keep this invisible. But for the time being, look at what we've done so far. This is the general shape, and what we're going to do is we're going to click this eyeball at the left of our layer, and we're going to say, okay, that matches up fairly well. So we're good. We're off the money so far. Now remember, again, we're going to click this as invisible, but what we're going to do is we're going to make thoroughly sure we're on the right layer. So click on line work. Make sure you click on line work and confirm you clicked on line work. Okay? Once you are pretty sure you're on the right layer, now we can continue. So here's the deal. So now we've done the external line. Now we're going to work on the internal shapes, the internal line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the paint size and we're going to knock that down a couple, because that's how illustration works, right? We have our thick external lines, and then we have our finer detail lines. So for this, we're going to say maybe three. And we're going to play around with that. We might go smaller in places, we might go larger in places. But the rule is we do not want to have anything exceed the max, anything that would exceed the external line. So we're going to try 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to start, let's start with faces. Faces are easy. Most people can get faces. But I'm gonna zoom in here. Now the rule is the more lines on a face, the older the character looks. So even though they have kind of like these dimples, you know, like the lines under here, we're not going to give every single line, lest they look ancient. This is a generally young person, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, first off, let's do easy. This is our first stroke. Yeah, and we're gonna define the face, and we're going to complement this line. We're not going to contradict that line. We are going to complement that line, and it's all the way. We're following this arm, and you'll notice I'm doing very choppy. I'll go and then I'll stop. The reason for that is well, let's do a purposeful mistake real quick. So let's say I'm real on the money. I'm really doing it. And I'm almost there, and then boop, I mess up. So I hit Control Z, all that's gone. All of it's gone. So what I tend to do is I tend to go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. So that Control Z isn't a painful endeavor. Yeah, maybe like finishing up the hair here. So what we're gonna do with glasses, and you've seen it on like characters like Chucky Finster from the Rugrats, Dexter. People kind of play glasses fast and loose in illustration. What we're going to do for our purposes is we're just gonna take the shape of the glasses and try to make them as consistent as possible. It is kind of hard to see the bottom in this lighting. Yep, and we're just making sure we're doing our best to keep it consistent. Checking to make sure we're getting the general idea. The eyes are usually where this kind of gets a bit make or break. The eyes are just so important. A lot of, it's cliche, but a lot of the human is dictated in the eyes. A lot of like why we like a character is in the eyes, so it's very important to get this right. It's easiest to do the WB Superman style, or like WB style, where you don't do the whole eye. It's up to you. It's real easy to just do the kind of the top of the lid and then do the pupil. That way it's just simple enough that you're not hitting that uncanny valley. See, it's cartoonish enough that it's fine. I find that the more details you do to it, you're playing a kind of a risky game. For the wellness intro, I did do the full picture of the eyes. For a coloring book, you shouldn't be too bad. Now, this is why I left the hair for last on this, because the hair, it can get kind of wonky. A lot of what I do is try my best to capture the shape of the hair without getting bogged down with too much line work. We'll just do kind of the general shape of the hair. We want the general shape of the hair. Yeah, cool. And now we're gonna do the boring kind of like rest of the shapes in here. Oh, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. What I did, instead of doing Control Z, I did Control X. Don't freak out. You just hit Control Z. That's a common mistake. That's common. Don't worry about it. You did not lose all your work. We've spent 40 minutes. It's not going to be 40 minutes for you, but I've spent 40 minutes doing this. It would be heartbreaking if that was gone forever. Do not worry. It is not. So, and now, so my hair is long. So long hair kind of goes by different rules, especially when it was as choppy and misshapen as my hair was back around here. We're going to follow kind of strokes. We're going to kind of make it tough, make it very tufty, but not to the point where it looks kind of odd. And what I mean is that there is a bunch of loose strands. There's a bunch of loose strands, but if I follow each one, it's going to make the shape look kind of weird. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of find the major shapes if we can. The major kind of, it's like right here, there's some kind of, it's like giving it a little bit, let me see how that looks. Yeah, it's like, there's like kind of a width, kind of density to this hair shape. We want to kind of just ride that. We want to like accentuate that. And like maybe even, I might even mess around with the external lines, but I don't think it's going to come to that. Yeah, I like how that came out. Maybe do a little bit with the ear, but it doesn't need that much. You don't need to overcook it either. But again, it's one of those things where it keeps you focused. My mind is nowhere else but this piece, and that's where it should be. I'm centered, because if I drift too far away cognitively, I start messing up. And you can see, because I'm trying to kind of keep my mind on making it accessible, making it so that everyone kind of can get it. And if you can see, I mean, I'm not making too many grievous errors, but just even that little much, even that much, when your mind is even that distant from the piece, you start to kind of lose your line work. And that's why it's such a good activity for keeping you focused. You can't really get distracted. You can't really let your mind wander. Intrusive thoughts, like all that, it's really hard to let them have ground with this. And so you kind of just tend to not. You kind of just tend to let it go in one ear, out the other. When you have thoughts like negative thoughts, like scheduling stresses, family stresses, it just goes in and out with this kind of stuff. Especially if you go all the way and you do coloring digitally, you're just gone. You're just focused on this for hours. And it is a work of brilliance. Now let's check it out. We open up the parchment. Boom. You're done. And then from there, what you'd want to do is like, say, let's just export it. Export as, let's say, piggyback ride friends. We're saving that in pictures. Yep. Maybe go to a Firefox or your browser of choice, and then try going to, say, Google Docs. I just happen to have Google Docs here. Don't look at my embarrassing tiles. You'll see how much of a geek I am. Okay, let's just do blank. And then you're actually able to go to your pictures, and then you don't even have to like import it. You can click and drag your file itself. I just have the File Explorer open. And you just click and drag it right there. This Google Docs by default has it set to 8.5 by 11, which is a printer paper size. So you can just do that if you want, make it horizontal, or you could just keep it the other way. You could just decorate it however you want. That's the nature of it, baby. So all you need, recap, go to Google, type in GIMP. It is a free picture editing software. No money involved whatsoever. Do what I did, find a picture, trace over it, have another layer to be your parchment layer to make it white or whatever color. Or if you want, color it there. Have a new layer underneath that, have that be your color layer, and then you can just color it right there in GIMP. But honestly, for a coloring page, this is all you need. So now I'm going to edit this video and I'm going to share it with all of you, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for giving me the time of day. I will see you all on the flip side. Thank you so much for watching, and be well.